I'm sitting here in a pickup truck with a Nerf gun to talk about Kim Hallock's deposition in the Crosley Green case and the story that she told in it. I was thinking of using a truck that was like almost exactly like Chip Flynn's truck, but in some ways it's better not to mislead anyone that I'm showing you exactly what the truck was like. I'm not able to prove exactly what that truck was like on that day, so I'm not going to get distracted with the specific details exactly about that truck. People say that Kim Hallock changed her story about what happened that night. She seemed to be hiding something. That's what the first responder, I believe a female police officer, said. And so maybe she changed her story and she was hiding something. Maybe she invented that whole story about a black guy to cover up that she shot her boyfriend herself. You know, maybe she was angry at him or she was jealous. And everybody knows that little white girls are so sinister and conniving and always get their way. And then, you know, big helpless black guys, they don't have friends in the police department to fix their stories for them. So somebody gave me a copy of Kim Hallock's deposition and said, see if you can find the holes in it, in her story. Find the flaws in the story of this lying, evil little girl. I immediately saw that she was probably leaving the sex out. She didn't mention the black guy talking on the 911 call, but she then added that to her story later. Black guy, you know, he was a little paranoid. He said something. She didn't mention that. She didn't know what month she broke up with her dead boyfriend right around Christmas. She didn't know whether he died and whether she went to class on a Sunday or Monday. Can somebody really be tied up in shoelaces that he can't get out? Well, it turns out that Chip was found still tied up in shoelaces a long time later. You know, I thought this was going to be a crazy mixed up story, but what I found out is just the opposite. This deposition is remarkably detailed. It's a detailed story. It's 140 pages single spaced, and it has very few flaws in it for how detailed it is and for how many details there are in all these pages. And what flaws this story has, the few flaws, can be explained by realizing that Kim is trying to hide four things. She's a sort of a private person. She didn't intend for anybody to get into her business that night. She didn't want to tell the story of what happened that night years later to everyone. She has older brothers who are school teachers. Her whole family's kind of geeky. Her dad was a youth baseball coach. Her friends and relatives are cops, or they work in the court system because she had a job in the court system. So she's in the gossip zone for that little town there. And she doesn't want her business getting out in the gossip. So she tried to hide four things. One, sex. Kim is not comfortable talking about sex. Two, Kim probably bought weed that night, and that's a crime that she could be arrested for. So she doesn't want to include that she bought weed that night. Three, Kim may be the one who tied the shoelace on Chip Flynn's wrists. In hindsight, she's not proud of that based on how it turned out. She was maybe stoned, she was afraid. Didn't work out so well. Maybe they might call her an accomplice, call her stupid, wants to hide that. Now, the fourth most important thing that I believe Kim Hallock is hiding after going through these 140 pages is I believe that Kim Hallock was in fact raped that night. And she didn't want anyone to know that happened. Now, she might have told, Chip's uncle, Michael Stroop, that happened. Maybe the police figured out that happened and they helped her cover it up. But in all the stories she told, they were designed to hide four things. She doesn't like talking about sex. She didn't want to get arrested for buying weed. She didn't, she wasn't proud that she may have been the one who tied Chip Flynn's wrist. And she was raped by a guy that night. And that was very private for a private person, Kim Hallock. And she did not want anyone to know that happened. That was the most important thing for her coming out of that event, is just to keep her privacy about what went on. So Kim starts out, and first she says she broke up with Chip, but he's still coming over to her house every week. Broke up with him, whatever, how many months before, but he still comes over to her house around every week. What she doesn't mention is that he's coming over every week and having sex with her. So right off, we see Kim has a pattern of leaving things out that she is not proud of or wouldn't want her family to know. She didn't shoot Chip every week. Wasn't anything evil. She had sex with him every week, and she kept that private. Probably left that part out of the story. Next, Kim leaves the house without putting her shoes on, obviously because they are not gone somewhere to get out of the car. They're just going on a ride to smoke weed and have sex. But Kim doesn't make that clear. She doesn't come right out and say, we got in the car to go have sex. She's hiding something, but it's not sinister. She's vulnerable. She knows people are nasty. She knows people will use gossip against her, so she's protecting herself. Next, Kim goes to the gas station and gets out and goes to the bathroom. It's strange to use the bathroom when you've only been out of the house a minute, and it's even stranger to go to a gas station bathroom in bare feet. So was she doing something sex-related in there? Maybe that's what was actually going on, like putting in a contraceptive sponge. Contraceptive sponges were popular in 1989. That would mean she just needed to step inside the bathroom door just to get out of sight and put that in there, so she's not going into the stall, so it's not as gross in bare feet. What other things would Kim leave out at the gas station? She would leave out if she went in there to buy a rubber, or maybe they even sell the contraceptive sponges in the gas station. I don't think so. What else would Kim leave out at the gas station that she doesn't want her cop family to know about? She would leave out if she's buying rolling papers. And if they don't have rolling papers yet, and maybe she's buying a lighter, maybe they don't have a lighter yet, then good chance that they don't have weed yet. So she would also leave out if she used the payphone at the gas station to call the weed dealer, tell him to meet her at the baseball park. Or maybe that's what Chip was doing while Kim ran in and got him a Mountain Dew. Maybe he was, calling his contact because, he bought this car supposedly from somebody who knew Crosley Green. Chip knows weed dealers. Kim's not going to say that. I even saw somewhere maybe they actually went to another place, Mims Park, first before going to the baseball field. So why are they going over that baseball field? Well, that's where the people who know the people who Chip knows, who know Crosley Green, who know these sketchy weed dealers by the black neighborhood, that's why they went over that baseball park, was perhaps to buy weed, and did some stuff related to that also at the gas station. Didn't just have Kim with no money running in there, buying Chip a Mountain Dew. No, they got some other stuff. She left it out. Either. She said in the deposition, they didn't smoke any weed in the car on the way there to the park or anything like that. And I even read somewhere else that they went somewhere else, maybe Mims Park, before they went to the baseball field. But she said, we didn't smoke weed till we got to the baseball field. We didn't smoke any weed until we got to the baseball field. Now let's pretend Kim is actually inventing all this and it never happened. The easy story, if Kim is just making it all up, is Chip went into the gas station and bought a Mountain Dew. But instead, Kim gives extra odd details that she went in instead of Chip, even though Chip has the money and Kim didn't mention buying anything for herself. And she went to the bathroom in bare feet. Later, when she's asked about marriage, she says no, she's not ready. She's emphatic. She shakes her head, not ready for marriage. This fits with the more elaborate gas station story she actually told, where she might have gone in herself to put in a contraceptive sponge Chip doesn't know about. Or maybe to buy a rubber, which Chip does not want to use. So she has all these extra details in the gas station that kind of don't make sense until you find out later she's not. She's like, not ready for marriage. Not ready for marriage. Chip's this, cocky slob. I'm going to go in and get that rubber. I'm going to go in and put in that contraceptive sponge. Not going to tell the world about it, but I'm not ready. I'm taking college classes. I'm not ready. College girl, get that sponge, get that rubber. Leave it out of the story. Don't put that in the story. So the unnecessarily detailed story she told, it fits together like a puzzle piece with not being ready to get married and fits with her being private about sex and about other things like maybe drug paraphernalia or other things at the gas station. After this point, after she's been to the gas station, all Kim needs to say is Chip drove us to some place I'm not familiar with, and a black guy stuck a gun in the passenger window and tied Chip's hands and told me to get out, and Chip jumped out and got shot. That's their whole story right there. That's page, that's like page 10 or something of the deposition, or she doesn't need to go on for 140 pages to put him in that orange grove and for Chip to get shot. She wouldn't invent all this other crap that she starts to invent. Like, she would just end it right there. Left the gas station, went to the orange grove, black guy walks up, sticks his gun in the window, ties Chip's hands up, Chip jumps out, black guy shoots him, I flee out of there scared. But Kim told a lot more than that. And, we're going to get into that. If she made up that simple story, if she just, made a real simple, sweet story to just say, this is how Chip got shot, I would start to find some holes in it. Why was there someone in an abandoned orange grove with a gun? You look at the map, it's kind of remote. Guy's just out in an abandoned orange grove just with a gun? Why? What's he doing there with a gun? Shooting trees? How would the black guy know a young person in a tank top, Chip, who's got no watch, wearing a tank top, or he took his shirt off, young guy, how would a guy out in the middle of nowhere in a field know that he's got a bunch of crisp 20s in his wallet straight from the bank? So she could have lied and just made up, we went to the orange grove and just some crazy black guy ran up and shot Chip, tied his hands and shot him. That's the liar story. And I would have found those holes in it. But she doesn't tell that simple story that makes no sense, which a liar would do. She keeps adding more details. So suppose Kim's making up this story and completely inventing it, and she gets a little more complicated than just we ran out there and got shot. Suppose she invents a story to begin in the baseball park by the black neighborhood. All she needs to say is a black guy walked up to the passenger side in the baseball field and carjacked us. I remember in the 1980s, gun laws must have been different because a lot of people in Florida had guns in their cars, so I would be suspicious of even the simple story that she made up. How does the black guy know you won't just shoot him from inside the car or just drive off or whatever? The more elaborate story that Kim actually told is in a baseball park next to a black neighborhood, and Chip has his shirt off and they're smoking weed. A black guy would be likely to walk by and see them doing drugs like that, to get an idea that maybe they have drugs and money. A drug dealer would be more likely to sell weed in a baseball park. Chip would be more likely to get out and pee if he's having sex. Instead of just, we drove straight out to the orange grove. Chip got out and peed. Why did he get out and pee just when you got there? Actually, now he's sitting with his shirt off. It makes sense. Chip would be more likely to get out and pee in the baseball field if he's having sex, which she left out because she doesn't like talking about that. So Kim fixes some holes. Her story makes more sense by adding the elaborate details of going to the park and sitting with Chip's shirt off and smoking weed. And the whole point that I'm getting at here is that she didn't just invent a simple story to just say we went out there and got shot. A black guy just came out of nowhere and shot him. She goes crazy with all these details. And with all these details, you would think that you're going to start to find some holes or things that don't really work. Normally, people who make stuff up create more and extra puzzle pieces that don't fit the more details they add. The more places she goes, the more people she, talks to, the more things you start going to say, well, this doesn't really fit together. This puzzle piece doesn't go together with what happened before or where you went. And they know this. Liars know that if you start getting real complicated, you're going to screw up or you're going to forget what you said the first time. And so liars do try to keep it simple. They do just say, we drove right out to the orange grove and a black guy came out on the orange shot Chip. And you know what? You can't prove that didn't happen. That's what a liar does. He plays it safe. But Kim throws in all this random odd stuff. And after going through it, it all fits together very neatly. In the very elaborate story that Kim told, the black guy puts the gun on Chip. He didn't put it on her. He put it on Chip. I would say, how did the black guy know Chip had the money? He might know if Chip opened up his wallet to buy weed. And so either the weed dealer saw the money, or maybe the weed dealer told someone he knows, one of his friends or neighbors in that black neighborhood, or another black guy in the park. Maybe the weed dealer told another guy in the park, yeah, these two white kids, they got money in their wallet. I saw it, selling them weed. So by telling this elaborate story, she creates a way to explain how a black guy would know that Chip had crisp 20s in his wallet. Kim didn't say they were buying weed. She didn't say they were having sex. But she did say they were smoking weed, and Chip took his shirt off, and she was scooted over next to him. We find out that she's not sitting over on the passenger side. She's scooted over next to Chip, and he's got his shirt off. Both these things make it more likely that Chip would get out of the car to pee or to buy weed. So now we're getting, starting to have some explanations. This whole story, the more pieces she adds, the more they fit together. A weed dealer would be more likely to be in a baseball park than in an abandoned orange grove or abandoned field. Chip would be more likely to step out of the car if he is having sex or buying weed. So all the extra details Kim adds to the story fit with the details that she doesn't even say, but you guess, the sex, the maybe buying weed. It is a lot of details where I should be able to find some holes at this point, but it's just the opposite. All the details go together nicely like puzzle pieces. Kim changed her story. In the 911 call, she didn't mention the black guy saying anything when he first walked by. She later says the black guy walks by and warns them to be careful with the sheriff patrolling. Watch out for that sheriff, guys. I know you're smoking weed. So Kim doesn't originally want to tell police that she is in a park smoking weed for a black guy that could even notice that. Or maybe she doesn't want to tell police that she was in a park buying weed, and the black guy's like slipping her the weed and he's saying, watch out, the sheriff does a patrol here, just went by. She doesn't need any of that. In the simple made-up story, Kim doesn't need a black guy walking by saying something. And of course she's going to leave it out of the 911 call, because she's not like, yeah, 911, I'm in the park buying weed. No, leaves that out. But if you guess something she didn't even want you to know, that Chip got out and opened his wallet to buy weed and got out to pee because he's having sex, then Kim's extra details fill in the holes in the story without Kim even wanting to fill in those holes in the story. Next, the black guy stands on Chip's feet. This is a random extra detail, and it's a chance for a liar to screw up. Kim could have said, I saw the black guy standing on Chip's feet. She could have said, yeah, I was looking out there and the black guy was standing on Chip's feet. And it hurt, and Chip said, ouch, get off me. But when you're sitting in the middle seat of a lifted truck, Kim probably couldn't see the ground where Chip's feet were. Let's have a look. So her head's about right here. Yeah, you can't see anywhere down here. Chip's something like down like this. That's the camera's where her head was. Chip's down like this, or actually, Chip's down like this. You can see the seat. You can see Chip's waist, but you can't see Chip's feet to know that the black guy would be standing on him. So, if she said that she saw the black guy standing on Chip's feet, and and Chip said, ouch, I would say, no, where you were sitting in the middle, you couldn't see Chip's feet. But she didn't make that mistake. So Kim adds this detail, the black guy standing on Chip's feet, and she doesn't make any mistake saying that she could actually see it. She only said that Chip said it happened. So adds a random detail, big opportunity to say something that's not possible. And she didn't. She said something that, that works. And so she adds a random detail, and it would have to be some kind of genius to not start getting some of this stuff wrong. Next, there's the stray gunshot. Why add this if it didn't happen? It's like you need to add 50 details. It's like if you were making up a story, it's like the only reason you'd add this stray gunshot is if I just want to throw in all kinds of crazy crap until I get something wrong. were Kim and Chip already playing with the gun? In the theory that she made this whole story up and she killed Chip, well, maybe Kim and Chip were already playing with the gun and she thought the sheriff might have heard the gunshot, and that's why he came looking with the spotlight. And that's why she had to start her invented story in the baseball park with a gunshot. Well, then why do this crazy thing with the tying and the accidental gunshot? Why not just tell a simple story? The black guy comes up to the window and says, "This is a stick-up." And then he comes up to the window and he says, "This is a stick-up. This is a fucking stick-up." Bang. Shoots the ground to, warn him, let him know, "I'm not screwing around here. I'm about to blow your fucking head off, okay?" Bang. Shoots the air. Says, "This is a fucking stick-up." Bang. Shoots the air, right? That's a real simple story. When they don't comply, he tries to scare them by shooting the ground. I would find the flaw. I would say, no way is the black guy going to shoot the ground, for almost no reason, for very little reason, and attract attention in the baseball park. There's a sheriff driving around. He's not just going to shoot a shot in the sky to scare him when he knows that sheriff patrols, or there could be other people in the park. It's right by neighborhood. So the first shot has to be accidental. So imagine if Kim was making this up. She's like, "I accidentally shot Chip," or "No, I accidentally shot the gun when we were screwing around at the baseball park, but I want to make it like the black guy did that. But I know to make sure that the black guy did it accidentally, because he probably wouldn't do that intentionally." It's too complicated to make all that stuff up. This really happened. Okay, now look at this. I got a string here, and I'm trying to tie it. I got a finger through this trigger hole, and I got my thumb, and I'm trying to grip this string. I'm trying to make this finger reach this thumb so I can grasp this string. I can't get this finger to this thumb without squeezing this trigger. Maybe the black guy had real long fingers, but I still can't make them meet up. So I'm trying to tie this string. Bang. I'm going to squeeze that trigger to try to make these fingers go together. Or maybe he's a clumsy person. He's not good at just squeezing with this finger. Like, he could be going like this. But when you start squeezing with your third finger, sometimes your mind kind of puts the two together and also squeezes with your second finger. Gun goes off. So an intentional warning gunshot would be a simple story for Kim to make up, but it would not fit with the black guy warning him about a sheriff being nearby. The more elaborate detail of an accidental gunshot fits with a guy in a hurry accidentally squeezing this trigger by accident when he's trying to grab a shoestring with his finger through the trigger guard. And it's too hard to tie a string with a pistol ready in your hand. He's got it ready. He's got it on Chip. He's trying to, threaten Chip with the pistol and tie a string at the same time. Gets a little confused, squeezes that trigger. It fits with the part Kim doesn't even want you to know, that the black guy had her get out and tie the string. Kim's story where she jumped out a minute later to be behind Chip because she doesn't want the black guy to take her away. The lawyer questioner was like, "Did the black guy say he was going to leave Chip and take you away?" And she's like, "No, but I just jumped out right at that time to be safe behind Chip. Even though out there, that's where the freaking gun is and the black guy is." Later, when she wants to be safe, she runs for the car. So most likely, somebody said she said that the black guy asked her to tie the string. He probably asked her to tie the string after he accidentally shot that gunshot. And she was probably like, "Yeah, I'd rather be tying the string myself than having you, shooting my boyfriend Chip in the feet. So, I'll help you here so that you don't shoot this guy's head off tying a string behind his back." That was a pretty close call there. So she doesn't want you to know that she tied that string. She accidentally said it one time, though. And that doesn't show that she's an elaborate liar. It shows that she's a bad liar. That the moment she changes something, the moment she changes the black guy asking her to tie the string, she accidentally, she doesn't remember that she changed that. She remembers leaving out sex. She's going to leave out sex every time. You don't have any problem saying, "I didn't have sex," and then come back a week later, "I don't mention the sex." Come back a month later, "I didn't buy weed." So all those things, it's easy to remember. You're going to say the same thing every time. "I don't know anything about buying weed. That's illegal." Sex, I'm a little shy to talk about sex. So you're going to get the not buying weed and the not having sex right every time. But the moment she starts, trying to leave out other details. It's like, it's a little gray area. Do I want to admit I tied the string? I mean, the black guy told me to tie the string. I'm kind of not wanting to say that. They might say I'm an accomplice or something. But then later she's like, yeah, the black guy told me to tie the string, because she forgot her original kind of gray area judgment, where she thought, well, maybe I'm going to leave that out. You may be wondering, why would these two kids be so compliant? Why would Chip tell the black guy the way to drive out of there, how to avoid the berm? Why would Kim help him shift? I think it was her parents, she said, that she helped him shift. We know that they told him how to get it in reverse. So why is Chip telling this guy how to put his car in reverse, where the stick shift is, to put it in reverse, to help this guy? Well, it could be because of something that, again, Kim doesn't want to say, something that she left out. She left out that, they smoked a ton of weed. They were totally baked. They were freaking high as a kite. And they're just like, yeah, you have the, and they're just like, yeah, put it, the reverse is here. Like, they don't know, they're wondering, I'm not telling you where reverse is. And then they're too stoned to know what to do next. Okay, so people think that, this guy who never drove this truck, he couldn't have driven the stick. Kim just made up this whole part about this guy driving stick while holding the gun, while sticking her side. A 19-year-old girl probably just learned to drive stick. She might think Chip's car is hard to drive. Everyone else thinks Chip's car is hard to drive. Why isn't she going to think it's hard to drive if it's so hard to drive? In the 1980s, there were a lot of carjackings. So why not just tell the story that would make sense to her, that the black guy carjacked them and Chip drove. Chip drives every day. Black guys in the news carjacking people every day. Chip's car is hard to drive. So why, if she's going to make up a story, would she make up something totally odd instead of just saying, yeah, the black guy carjacked us, Chip drove his car, I know it's hard. The more complicated story she actually told with the black guy driving actually makes more sense to me. Back then, so many cars were stick, there's no way a 30-year-old man, which Crosley Green was supposed to be 30, there's no way a 30-year-old man doesn't know how to drive stick. I think every car that I ever had or drove or sat in back in the 80s was stick, except for maybe one. And there's no way that, what all these people say, that Chip had this unique transmission that was from another planet. It had a totally innovative layout that no other car ever had. And the manufacturer only ever made one. So nobody had ever seen a stick like this before. It was, he built it himself. One picture I saw that was supposedly a Chip's car, there was even a diagram on top of the stick that actually showed how to shift it. And the diagram looked just like one I've seen myself. Actually, I just saw a diagram just like that the other day. Now, maybe he changed the transmission. The diagram didn't match, but I mean, come on. You're going to have a transmission that they're going to put it in completely different spots than every other one. Now, Tim Curtis, the same guy who says he lied after he said Crosley Green did the killing, he's like, I said Crosley Green did it, but I lied. He tells the story that nobody else could drive that truck. So that's the same dumb story which Kim could have told. Chip drove the truck himself because, like Tim Curtis and everyone says, nobody else could drive that truck. But instead, Kim told a more elaborate story, didn't tell the simplest story. Again, chose to, if she's inventing it, she chose to invent a more elaborate story. And what made it the elaborate story that made sense to a 20-year-old girl in 1989 also makes sense to me. That any 30-year-old guy in 1989 could have driven that stick shift with a diagram on it, even if you were being distracted by two stone people who won't shut up telling them how to drive their car, to protect their gear. So maybe he doesn't even want to know how to drive it, but they're sitting there like, this guy's going, hey, dude, you need to shift. And she's going, you got to put it in the clutch. That's how my girlfriend is, when I ride, and she's going to be like, why are you feathering the clutch, or the guy's going to be like, hey, dude, watch my gears. So, even if he didn't want to know how to drive it, they're going to be bitching at him. I don't even think the problem is whether the black guy can drive the truck. I think the problem is that the stick is right between Kim's knees. She's sitting here in the middle of the seat. This stick is coming right up between her knees. So, it's whether Kim would let him operate the stick. He's got a gun in his right hand. It's right in front of her where she could grab that gun. So is she just going to let him do this? Just operate a stick right between her knees? some people will say, well, she could have, she could have inched forward while he was operating that stick with his gun in his hand and let Chip shoot him. But, if the black guy's arm, is coming across here, it's kind of blocking her, so he's going to feel her moving forward. I mean, she could still get away with it. But, what that black guy could do is he could keep this gun. He could keep this gun in her side with this hand, and then he could reach over with this hand and put that stick into first. So all he has to do is get it into first gear. He's going to say, where's first gear? And they're going to put it in first gear, and then he's going to drive around in first gear. They're not drag racing. They're not trying to beat anyone. He can drive all around fucking town in first gear. It only got 4 gears. It's probably got a pretty, high first gear. Like, you probably go 10, 15. And then he doesn't even give a fuck to put it into second gear. And he's like, "Rrr," and then Chip would be like, yo, dude, you need to shift. And she'd be like, yeah, you need to shift. So, he'd just have this gun on her side. He'd be like, okay, where's second gear? Put it in second gear. And she'd be like, there. And he'd be like, okay, whatever. And that's actually what it was, I think she told her parents that she actually did. So he's not going, put it in second, put it in third. He's just going, I'm driving all the way where I'm going at first. I don't care. And she and Chip are the ones who are like, dude, you'll have to shift into second, man. Or, they're really stoned. They're like, oh, dude, you're like ruining my truck. You got to shift into second, man. And so, yeah, Kim's like, oh, dude, I know how to drive stick. Like, I'm special. I'll put it in second for you. Remember, Kim's the one who tied the shoelaces. She's not going to try to grab that gun, even if he does put that hand with that gun right in front of her. She's too timid. She's not even telling Chip, why are you dating that girl? She's like, why are you dating her? And he's like, shut up. She's like, okay. So believe me, she ain't going to try to grab this gun. If she tied those shoelaces, she ain't going to grab the gun when it's right in front of her, shifting the stick shift. And also, if you accept that Chip told him where the berm was, told him where reverse was, Chip's let him get away with a lot of stuff to this point. Again, maybe because he's high as a kite. So if you accept he's going to do all that, then you got to accept that, Chip would probably just sit over there and, tell him where second gear is, and Kim wouldn't try to grab the gun. Before all that stuff with the stick shift happens, Kim says something that doesn't even need to happen until they get to the orange grove. She says she got the gun out of the glove box, and she put it on the middle of the seat. Now, I'm thinking here's a flaw. No way does she put the gun on the middle of the seat and not snap it like she said, where the black guy can see what she's doing. Because remember, she's over in the passenger seat, the black guy's right here, and she's taking that gun out of that glove box and putting it on the seat between her and the black guy where, he can see her hands meddling around there. She put that gun between her legs over there in the passenger seat, or she'd put it on her right side. So she'd sneak it out of that glove box, and then she'd put it on her right side, and black guy wouldn't be able to see what she's doing. She wouldn't put it in the middle of the seat. Then we find out it fits with a detail Kim did not even want us to know. She was already scooted over by the driver's side with Chip with no shirt on. So the middle of the seat was behind her, out of sight from the black guys. And she didn't tell us, I was up there giving a hand job to Chip, or, he took his shirt off. The lawyer who's questioning her was like, well, was it warm out? It was a nice night that he took his shirt off? I was like, no, they're having sex. And she completely left that out, and she didn't want you to know that Chip had his shirt off and she was scooted right up next to him. But she only admitted to it. It's like, so she would have preferred to left that out. And so she had already told us that she put this gun in the middle of the seat. And she's not even planning to tell you that she was up, sitting next to Chip. Because it wasn't until the lawyer brought that fact out of her later. So she definitely wasn't saying she put it in the middle seat to fit with something that she didn't even want to tell you. She was telling it because it was the truth. In the simplest story, Kim would not even need to get the gun out at this point while they're sitting in the baseball field park. No need for a gun at this location for Chip to get shot over at the orange groves. In the simple story, Where she gets it out, where she gets the gun out, in the simple story where she gets the gun out, it would be on the passenger side, and she would put the gun on her right. In the flawed simple story, she would put the gun on the middle of the seat, like she said, where the black guy can see what she was doing, and I would find that to be the flaw in the story. So, she's open to making mistakes or to telling a simpler story if she's making it up. I got it out and I put it on the right side of me on the passenger seat because that's where I was sitting, or I put it on the middle seat when I was sitting in the passenger seat, and the most complicated story ends up all fitting together like puzzle pieces. Oh, she adds the extra detail that she was over on the driver's side with Chip, and it works. The black guy can't see what she's doing on her right. The extra details and the details she doesn't even want you to know, as always in this 140 pages, they always fit together mechanically in the end. This is true. This story happened. Next, they go to the Orange Grove. All Kim needs to say at the Orange Grove is, well, we went to the Orange Grove. Black guy came around to the passenger side and told Chip to get out and shot him, and I drove away. End of story. I'm just making it up. I really actually shot Chip myself, but I'm going to go, the black guy who was carjacking us, he got around. He told Chip to get out, and he told me to get out, and Chip got out, and he shot Chip. So that's not the simple story that she invents, though. If she told that simple story, I would point out, why would the black guy leave the keys in the car? Isn't he afraid when he gets out and walks around on the passenger side that you're just going to lock the passenger door and drive away? If that simple thing happened, he walked around on the passenger side, Chip jumped out and he shot Chip and you drove away. Why didn't you just, drive away? In the more complex story that Kim actually told, the black guy pulls her out the driver's side and she runs around to the passenger side. And there's so many details, and it no longer has that hole of why didn't you just lock the door and drive away? Adds details, has fewer holes. A liar adds details and creates more holes. Kim adds more details, and the story works better because it's true. Next thing, Chip uses his foot to stop the black guy shutting the driver's door after he pulls Kim out. So, pulls Kim out, tries to shut the door. Chip puts his foot up there, won't let the door shut, sticks his foot in there. Remember, in the simplest story, Chip doesn't even need to get his gun out at all. In the slightly more complex story, Chip could squirm around and get the gun out of the glove box when they're parked at the Orange Grove. So, the black guy pulls Kim out, shuts the door, then Chip squirms around and gets that gun out of that glove box. I looked at a car like this, and it looked like all you had to do is just punch a button and the glove box falls open. But then the problem would actually be getting around and reaching your hands in there to pull the gun out. So it's a bit of squirming with your hands tied behind your back to get that gun out of the glove box. But he could do it. Or Kim would make up and say that. She'd go, well, I don't know how he did it, but he did it. She'd go, well, I guess, Chip somehow squirmed around and got that gun out of the glove box. And then we'd be sitting here saying, could Chip really get a gun out of a glove box? Maybe we found a hole in Kim's story. But as usual, we don't find a hole in her story. She told the most complex story where she already got the gun out of the glove box. And not just right there for some reason either. Like, she could have said, okay, the black guy got out and then I got the gun out real quick. But before I could do anything with it, the black guy pulled me out and I left it with Chip. But she told it way even more complicated. She already got that thing out a long time ago over at the Orange Grove. And she even had actually, Chip mouthed it to her, get the gun, because he was facing away from the black guy who was standing on her feet. So rather than Chip squirming around to get the gun, rather than her just grabbing it real quick after the black guy gets out and is looking the other way, she has Chip kneeling on the ground, facing this way, black guy standing on his feet, which he can't say, Chip saying, oh, that hurts, and she's sitting in the middle because Chip had his shirt off and she's having sex with him, and that's when she gets the gun out. Most complicated fucking thing, and it works. Why? Because if Kim hadn't done all that complex stuff back at the baseball park, Chip would not be sticking his foot in this door to keep it from shutting. Chip would want to take the opportunity of that black guy shutting the door behind him to squirm around and get the gun out of the glove box if it wasn't already out. It's only because Kim already got the gun out that Chip wants to stop the door closing. Chip has that gun. He's been screwing around with it the whole ride, and he's ready to shoot. So that's why he puts his foot in the door. So something at this scene, or at this location, fits together way with something that happened at the previous location. Not a story with flaws in it. Not a story with things that don't fit. They all fit together. Okay, and if you just change that one detail at the other location, if you say, well, she didn't get the gun out yet, it's still in the glove box, suddenly Chip putting his foot in the door doesn't work. Because he wouldn't put his foot in the door if he wanted to have that door shut so he could have the privacy to get that gun. In the kind of the simple story, that I'm always starting with the simplest story that a liar would make up or invent. In the simplest story that Kim might make up, the black guy would just grab her, pull her behind the truck, and demand sex. And then Chip would come out and shoot and miss and get shot. So she's like, yeah, he took me out there behind the truck, and that's when Chip came out and tried to shoot him, and he missed, and he shot Chip in the chest. End of story. If Kim said that, I would say, well, when the black guy was behind the truck, wasn't he worried what Chip was doing in the truck, tied only in a shoelace? Like maybe Chip would get out of that shoelace and drive away, or back over you, or come out with a tire iron. You know, your story where he dragged you back behind the truck or out into a tree or something to have sex and left Chip there, and he's not got his eye on Chip. You know, this guy got this far. He's got, you know, the black guy's got everything covered. He's not going to go out in the forest there. In the complex story that Kim actually told, she ran around to the passenger side and opened the door. And so where the black guy catches her and brings her up and says, listen, bitch, you're a little slut and you're going to do what I say. They can actually see through the open passenger door in her story. So if she just invented the simplest story, a guy takes me into the woods, Chip comes out, tries to shoot him, gets shot, I'd say there's a hole in it. Black guy ain't leaving Chip unattended. In the complex story she actually tells, passenger door's open. They can see Chip. They're right next to the passenger door. Black guy, while black guy's demanding sex, he knows what Chip's up to. He knows if he's coming out of that car or not. So the extra detail of running around and opening the door to try to escape the black guy, it works better than the simple story. You're seeing a pattern here. Kim adds more details, and they work better than if she made up the simplest story. Now, I found a hole in Kim's story. This is where I finally found a hole. If a guy's holding your girlfriend against him and your hands are tied behind your back, there's no way you can shoot him and hope to hit him and not her. Not unless you've practiced a lot, which I'm sure Chip hadn't practiced, shooting with his hands tied behind his back. It's even worse if Kim is more in the front and the black guy's more in the back. So Kim has just come running up the side of this car and opened this door. And now Kim is standing right around here and the black guy's behind her. So I'm here with this gun. It's in my left hand going behind my back. And I can't shoot. Kim's out here in front of the black guy. Kim is between me and the black guy. Now I can't even shoot around this seat with this gun stuck behind my back in my left hand. You can only shoot out sideways, and it sounded like that's what she was describing to the guy questioner, the lawyer. You can only shoot straight out sideways. You have to screw way to the edge to hit somebody who's standing, to the rear of the door frame here. Like if I shoot like this, it's going to ricochet off that door frame, and it's going to hit Kim. We don't actually know if this door was wide open. If, it's a kind of a rough field, said she drove over a bump or something going out. So, if the car's kind of tilted this way, door might sit like almost completely shut. If the car's tilted that way, door's going to fall completely open. So maybe the black guy's further up here with Kim. But still, with my left hand behind my back on this seat, it's like I don't even know which way this thing is aiming. Like, I can see because I have this camera that I'm kind of aiming up, but I don't know that I can make that shot without hitting without hitting Kim. So I'm a little bothered by what Kim's telling me here. I don't know that Chip would take that shot with his left hand behind his back with the black guy standing behind Kim. So I tried a bunch of times, like shooting with the gun behind my back, and what I found is it would help if Chip were right-handed. He's going to put his right hand on top when he ties the wrist. So he's gonna put his left hand against his back, and then his right hand crossed on top of that. So his left hand is going to be a little bit separated from this seat, because his right hand is going to be back there. So he's going to be a little bit cleared away from this seat. So he's going to be able to aim a little bit back. Whereas if his right hand was in there, he'd be right up against that seat. But again, if he hits that door frame, or if he's too high, he's going to hit Kim, and he knows that. Okay, so there's 3 reasons why Kim has a hole in her story. There are 3 reasons why Chip is not gonna shoot his gun at that exact moment as she invented. 1, using your left hand tied behind your back with no practice. When the black guy is holding Kim against him, you have no hope to hit that black guy without possibly hitting Kim. 2, you cannot shoot around the seat door, around the seat. 2, you cannot shoot around the seat back and door frame to hit a guy who is slightly behind the door, behind Kim. Even if Kim is squatted down on the ground like she said she was, it's still too hard a shot to make. If you scoot to the very edge of the seat to be able to shoot in the back direction, the black guy's going to see what you're doing and shoot you. I'm coming, the black guy wants me in this car. He doesn't want me going, he's at the moment when Kim says this happens, this is right when the black guy's yanked her from that door, and right after he's told Chip to shut that freaking door on the other side. So black guy tells Chip, stay in there, shuts that door. Kim runs around, tries to open this door. A moment later, Chip scoots up to the edge and exposes it. Now, the black guy, he can see Chip through this door. Chip's not getting to that edge, getting that gun out, even if Kim is squatted on the ground, and so if he aims high, he has a hope to hit the black guy. The black guy's going to see what you're doing, and he's angry, according to Kim, when he's talking to Chip on the other side, and Chip's going to get shot if he scoots to the edge. 3, you have no chance of hitting him. So you're going to hit Kim. He's holding Kim against him. You're going to hit Kim. He's going to see you scooting to the edge. You have to scoot to the edge to get around the frame, but the black guy's going to see you scooting there. And even if you do all that, even if you get close enough to the edge to shoot around the door, even if you have, even if you're not afraid of hitting Kim, you're going to miss. Or you're going to nick this guy, and the moment your gun goes off, black guy's going to step forward with a clean shot and a huge advantage and blow your fucking head off. So again, there's 3 reasons you're not going to shoot at the time Kim claims Chip shot. 1, using your left hand tied behind your back with no practice. When the black guy's holding Kim against him, you have no hope to hit the black guy without possibly hitting Kim. 2, you cannot shoot around the seat back and door frame to hit a guy who's slightly behind the door behind Kim. Even if Kim is squatted down on the ground like she said she was, and maybe you can try to aim high, if you scoot to the very edge of the seat to be able to shoot in the back direction, the black guy will see what you're doing and shoot you. And 3, even if Kim is squatting so you can aim high, and you scoot really close to the edge so you can shoot toward the back, and you shoot quick before the black guy notices you scooting to the edge, and you shoot high so you have no chance of hitting Kim, you're still probably going to miss. That's in fact what Kim says did happen in this story, is basically Chip took his shot and missed and got shot. Or you're going to nick the black guy, and he's going to step forward with a clean shot and a huge advantage and blow your head off. And again, Kim even thinks maybe that happened. Maybe he did nick the black guy, but whatever happened, the Chip ended up shot. So the reality is, Chip is going to wait like he's been doing all night. He's going to wait for it to become more urgent or for the geometry to change and become more favorable to shoot. Suppose the black guy pushes Kim on the ground and lies on top of her. Now the black guy's come forward a bit. You know, if this door's slightly open, he's kind of laid out there. You don't have to shoot around the door frame toward the back, and you have a wider target. And it's urgent to shoot him when he's got Kim on the ground and he's lying on top of her. But Kim is under him, and if you shoot him, you're probably going to hit her. It's not until the black guy finishes what he's doing with Kim that he stands up and gives himself some separation from Kim with a clear shot sideways through the open door that Chip has a safe shot. And now Chip's willing to take a risk of missing and getting shot himself because this guy just raped his fucking girlfriend. So it's not until after the black guy's dick goes in her that the black guy separates from Kim and Chip gets his shot and is urgent to take it. So Chip is going to wait for it to become more urgent, just like he's been waiting all night. He's had this gun in his hand for, 2 locations, and he's been waiting for his chance, and so is Kim. So he's going to keep waiting for that geometry to change, so he can get a safer shot, or Kim to separate something, or for it to become more urgent. So, if it becomes more urgent, it's going to force him to shoot. But other than that, he's going to keep waiting. Now, suppose the black guy pushes Kim on the ground and lies on top of her. Now the black guy's come forward a bit, and you don't have to shoot around the doorframe toward the back, and you have a wider target. And it's urgent. He's on top of your girlfriend. But Kim is under him, and you'll probably hit her. It's not until the black guy finishes what he is doing, what he's demanded, what he's called her a slut for, that he stands up and gives himself some separation from Kim. He's got the money, he got the girl, he's done. And that is when you get a clear shot sideways through the open door, and that's when Chip has his safe shot and he takes it. So he's also feeling a little bit more angry and risky now because this guy just raped his girlfriend. So he's not so afraid to miss and get shot himself because he's fucking pissed. So it's not until after the black guy's dick goes in her that all these things that are preventing Chip from taking a shot peel away and give Chip that opportunity. It's not until after the black guy's dick goes in her that he's done, got everything he wants, the money, the girl, that the black guy finally separates from the girl, no longer sticking guns in faces, demanding shit, and he has that space where you can aim at him without aiming at the girl, and Chip gets his shot, and at this time he's real urgent to take it, and he does, and like I said, he misses. So Chip missed like we expected him to. So now he's lying on the ground with this gun behind his back. He's shooting up at the black guy. So, of course, the bullets are never found. Kim didn't need to include these extra shots in a story that she invented. Everybody says, well, if there was all these extra shots, then why didn't they find the bullets? Well, this dude dove out on the ground so that he could, be able to shoot. He's shooting up, bullets are gone. They're off in another county. And if Kim did happen to make up all these extra shots for no reason, then again, she must have got lucky because, as I just showed, it works. And of course, Chip is still going to miss because your range of aiming back here, I can't even aim this freaking camera. You can only just aim, your range of aiming is from here to here. This is all you can do. So the black guy walks over here in front of you. You ain't gonna hit him. The black guy's gonna be staring at you like, you dumb fuck. And if you can't spin because you're not standing, then the black guy can literally walk up in front of you with no fear of getting shot, take this gun off you, and pop you in the fucking chest. And shoot your ass. So, after that point when Chip's on the ground, it's over. Okay. I found maybe another hole or a small oddity in Kim's story. Back near the beginning of the deposition, when they first get to the baseball field, the lawyer asks Kim, are there any lights in the car? And the only light that Kim is certain there is a light right here in the side of the passenger door, which I actually, I've had a light like that in my truck, and I know the light she's talking about. She doesn't even think there is a light in the ceiling, and she doesn't even think there's a light in the driver's side door, which, obviously there would be, but I guess it could be burnt out. The light she's sure that is there, this light, she doesn't even know if it came on. She's not sure if it came on when the door was open at the baseball field. So it's a good chance that if she remembers that light exists so clearly, that she in fact remembers it from the extremely memorable events at the Orange Grove. It's a dark field. That's why that black guy brought them there. And when she runs around and opens this door, she's probably going to remember seeing the light right there come on. But she leaves that out. Now you remember also, the lawyer asked when the black guy shut the driver door before Kim ran around, did that door get shut tight? And she said she doesn't think so. So maybe it didn't make a real solid slamming sound. Or maybe she knows it didn't get shut tight because the light was still on, and that's how she knows it didn't get shut tight. So when she comes around and this passenger door is open, she comes around and it's real dark in this field. That's why the black guy brought them here. So she runs around, she opens this door, suddenly that light right there comes on. So at this point, Chip is still back over in the middle of the seat because he was kicking that driver door, and that's where he's focused. Him coming to the edge of the seat would be one of the best illuminated things in this dark field. And that's another reason that Chip's not going to scoot to the edge and take that shot, because he's all lit up. The black guy's standing right here. Chip's going to come scooting to the edge. That light is shining right where he is. Not on the black guy. It's more shining on Chip. That's what it's intended for, is to illuminate the entrance to the car. But Kim left that part out again. She didn't say, yeah, Chip was sitting there in the light and scooting over from the middle. So if Kim didn't put this in her story about Chip scooting across and being lit up to make that shot, is it possible the door wasn't actually open when Chip was scooting over to make that shot? So Chip's in here, he's illuminated. Black guy brought them all the way out to this dark field, told Chip to stay in on the driver's side and shut the door behind him. Is he going to be happy to do what he's going to do, leaving that door open with that light on for Chip to kind of scoot across here and watch what he's doing? Is that black guy going to come over here after all that and Kim opens this door with this light on and just leave it open? I can actually see the guy shutting this passenger door just like he did the driver door after Kim opened it and tried to get in. In other words, Kim comes running around here, opens the passenger door, manages to get 1 foot in, when the black guy grabs her by this arm and pulls her back, and that's when she says she's sitting here and she can see Chip. As I already explained, Chip sitting in that seat is not going to take a shot right now because, Kim's here, black guy's here. Kim is between Chip and the black guy. Door frame is between Chip and the black guy. There's no shot here. What I think the black guy really did is he said, get the fuck back over here, you fucking slut. You're going to do what I fucking say, or you're going to fucking get your fucking head blown off, and you asshole, stay where the fuck you are. And so the black guy's going to sit here with Kim, telling her, listen, you little fucking slut, you're going to do what I fucking tell you, and you asshole, you're going to sit in that fucking truck. Black guy's not going to run up. So black guy's not going to run up, and Kim opens this door, and he's going to go, look at you, little bitch, you opened that door. I'm going to blow your head off. No, he's going to go, don't you fucking open that fucking door. and he's going to shut it. So again, this is the part that Kim left out of her story. She didn't want to talk about it. Black guy's going to keep an eye on that door. Black guy's going to keep an eye on this door until he's distracted. And even then, it's going to take Chip a little bit of time to open it. I went and found a picture of a door, I think, like this, and you kind of have to get sort of the front half of the door and like pull a latch towards you, which wouldn't be too hard. But again, Chip's waiting for that moment when it's urgent and where he can get a good shot. So maybe it takes a little bit longer than Kim wants you to know, because you're going to ask Kim, in this deposition, you're going to say, okay, so the black guy shuts the door and you're out there and Chip's in there trying to get that door open so he can shoot. What are you doing right now? What's going on right now? Black guy's just standing there muttering about what a slut you are? Well, she doesn't want to answer that question. So she's like, yeah, so he leaves out him shutting the door, leaves out Chip taking a minute to get that door back open, and just says, yeah, Chip just shot him right then. Leaves out what's actually going on right now. Let's look at that shot one more time. Suppose Kim runs up and she flings this door the whole way open. Now, Chip was focused on the driver door. He had his foot on that driver door, and he doesn't know that Kim's running around. He doesn't know where she's running. So when this happens, Chip's still over here in the middle of the seat where his foot can touch that driver door, or maybe he's even got closer to the driver door. That's what I think he would do. Suppose the black guy comes the whole way forward to where he is in this, clear view, this side shot. So now, when Kim's squatting like this even, they're straight out the open door. The gun is still in Chip's right hand because, he was looking to shoot the black guy in the driver's seat. So Chip's going to have to lean forward slightly so that he can shift that gun around to his left hand, which takes a moment. And, so you got to switch the gun from his left hand or from his right hand to his left hand before he can take this open shot. Now, the black guy's right against Kim holding the gun to her head, but he's up a little higher. He's definitely facing toward this door. He's not putting his back to this door. So Chip's not looking in his back. So maybe Chip takes that shot the whole way from the middle of the seat, straight out here, aiming high. Oh, but I still don't think the black guy would give Chip time to think about it like that. I think that black guy would shut this door with this light on before he takes his eye off Chip, who's right over here in the light, and starts telling Kim what he wants her to do. The reason Chip shoots is because what the black guy says to Kim or what he's trying to do to her. That's why Chip suddenly becomes so urgent that he's willing to shoot towards Kim and he's willing to shoot even though he's almost certainly going to miss, because he's become urgent because what the black guy is doing to Kim. And I don't think that I think the black guy's going to shut the door before that happens. Now, suppose Chip did take that quick shot straight out the side while he's still sitting in the middle of the seat before the black guy, closed the door or moved away from this open shot straight out the side. For Chip to dive out right after he shoots, he would have to scoot to the edge of the seat before shooting. He's got to be quick to make that shot before the black guy closes the door, but he's got to have scooted over if he's going to do what Kim said in the story, which is shoot and then just almost instantly dive out, which you would think he would either dive out or instantly shoot again. Like, dove right out and then there was a bunch more shots. That's what you'd expect. You don't expect him to shoot from the middle and then be scooting over for a while, and then, instead of hesitating at the edge of the seat or something, he dives right out and takes more shots. If Chip scooted to the edge of the seat while this was wide open and lit up to take that first shot from a position where he can then dive straight out, the black guy would see that, and Kim would mention that. For Chip to dive out right after he shoots, he would have to scoot towards the edge of the seat before shooting. And Kim says she can see Chip. So the black guy would see Chip scooting, and Kim would mention Chip scooting in the light. Chip didn't say she saw Chip, or Kim didn't say she saw Chip scooting from the middle to the edge. And the black guy didn't see Chip scooting either, because he would have started shouting at him or told him to shut the door or something. So right off in Kim's story of, Chip shooting and then jumping immediately out, most likely the black guy would have to be back here, further toward the back of the car where Chip can't shoot around the door, because if the black guy was really here at this straight side shot, then he's going to see Chip scooting over to be in a position where he can dive out, and he's going to shut this door, he's going to shout at him, he's going to do something about that scooting. Since Kim didn't mention Chip scooting in her story, maybe Chip did take this shot straight out. And then the black guy, he dodged away from the door, and this is what gave Chip time to scoot over. I would think that Chip would maybe take another shot from the edge of that door or from the edge of that seat, or maybe he'd hesitate or do something before throwing himself straight on the ground. So, and that time Kim's jumping up, she's going to jump in. I'm not totally sure that Chip wouldn't I don't know. He wouldn't just dive right out. If the black guy dodges out, Chip's just going to scoot right over and throw himself on the ground. He'd get to the edge, and when he gets to the edge, he can take another shot, with his left hand, and he's probably going to come out and land on his feet and not throw himself out, because if the black guy dodged out of the way, Chip's going to have that kind of time and that kind of caution. Chip's going to be kind of cautious now, sliding to the edge of the seat while this black guy's dodged out of sight. Chip's like, where is that black guy with a gun? So he kind of slides to the edge of the seat. He's got that gun ready, and doesn't just shoot from the middle of the seat and then scoot, dive before shooting again. So once again, I'm back to the belief that the scooting took place when that door was shut and the black guy's dick was probably in her at that time. Everything points to the fact that this scooting with the light on and the black guy in view is missing from the story. And the best way it would be missing from the story is if Kim did not actually see Chip scoot from the other side. Now, I'm scooting to the edge of the seat here to try to find out how close to the edge I have to be before it's the right moment to dive out. Like, can I dive out right now, or do I want to get a little closer like this? I'm in a hurry, so I'm willing to dive early. I'm willing to, start diving from right here if that seems like the right time. But what I find is that it's really never the right time to dive. Like, I can just put my foot right out here and kind of slide out like this. And I'm going to slide out with that gun behind my back. And I'm going to shoot all over. Especially if the black guy's standing next to the door, like, straight out, the straight shot. I mean, you're just going to be throwing yourself right at his feet. The idea that you're going to just throw yourself right at the feet of a guy holding a gun that you're afraid of is ridiculous. If you can come out sideways and land on your feet, you're going to do that. If you don't throw yourself at a guy's feet when it doesn't even work, it's actually almost easier to slide out feet down. And you should try this yourself. Like, it's so awkward to throw yourself out here. You're just going to be dumping yourself on the ground. Whereas you can throw your foot out like this and bang. That's what a door's made for, is to slide out feet first. You're doing the harder thing by diving out. You're not going to do it. Now let's try with the door shut. I have to reach around behind me so I can open this latch with my left hand. and then I got to push against the door with my back. Now it makes perfect sense with my right hand to take a shot out that door as it's opening. That makes much more sense now. And since I'm already sort of falling out here, it makes sense to dive out. The diving motion at this point, when I'm pushing this door open, it's already halfway complete just by pushing the door open. Like right now, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to dive in the door opening position. It's too much trouble to scoot my butt around 180 degrees back onto the seat to slide to the edge and jump out feet first. So that's when I'm not gonna, that's the only time that I'm not gonna jump out feet first and I'm gonna dive out is if I open that door with my back, so I'm already half dove out. So for Chip to be diving out this door, he was against it with his back opening and already half dove out for it to make sense. And Kim left that part about the door being shut out. This door was shut when Chip opened it and dove out and took that shot, and there was something else happening to Kim that she left out of the story. I came back here to try this one more time because I discovered something that's perhaps unfortunate. Now, remember, I was saying that Chip kind of scooted around and opened this door leaning against it so that he could take a shot out the open door with his right hand behind his back. Now, originally he had this problem that he couldn't get around the door frame to shoot towards the back or shoot the guy back there. So in theory, he could scoot around like this and scoot off to the edge of the seat and shoot with his right hand. But that introduces the same problem. This door's got this light in it that Kim kept talking about. If he's scooting to the edge of the seat, doesn't matter which way he's facing. If this door's open, black guy's going to see him scooting and shoot him or whatever, especially scooting this way. The black guy's going to see that gun back there while he's scooting, and the black guy's going to shoot him. So I know this door was closed, or I believe it was closed while Chip was scooting around to put his back against this door. Now is where we get to the unfortunate part. So Chip had scooted around. All he wants to do is open this door a crack and take a shot at this black guy with his gun behind his back out the cracked door. He means to stay sitting in this seat. I don't know, maybe he gets a little further back. It's very awkward. Might have been less awkward in that big old truck. Now, what does Kim do? She said that she ran up and opened the door and got in, and Chip jumped out at the same time. Chip didn't jump out. Chip fell out because he was up against this door and Kim opened it and he fell out on the ground. Can't reproduce it in this truck because it's not as roomy and it's not got this smooth bench seat. But he would have been able to slide right up against that door as he was opening it. And then when Kim opened that door, he fell out. In the deposition, she says, oh, he jumped out. I showed before that it's really not desirable, and it doesn't make much sense to just throw yourself on the ground from a truck high up like that. It's going to be a long drop. You're just going to be a pile lying at the feet of the guy who has threatened to kill you. Now you remember, the next day, Kim just wasn't sore on her arm here where the black guy grabbed her, or where he grabbed her and pulled her out over there. She said that she was sore all over. That's another flaw in her story. Why would she be sore all over if the black guy only grabbed her once on each arm and then she gets pulled out and she's kind of squatted like she said? Just like when we find out that she's actually sitting next to Chip with his no shirt on, hints always come out of the things Kim is hiding. Like she left out a whole thing and then she's like, yeah, I was sore all over. You know, where was the part of the story where that happened? Because her story has so many details. Now remember, the lawyer who's asking her these questions, he gave her an opportunity to invent that she had some bruises maybe the next day. He's like, did you have any bruises on you, any marks? So if she wanted to invent that she had bruises or marks or was terrible, she could have done it right there. But she's like, no, But she's like, I was sore all over. So she's not like, why is she going to invent that she was sore all over and not invent that she's hurt right on the arm, which is what he kind of leads her to do. He leads her to say, yeah, I was sore on the arm because the guy grabbed me. She's like, no, I wasn't sore on the arm. I was sore all over. Would sex with Chip in that truck make her sore all over, maybe? Would she admit to being hurt from wrestling with Chip? Of like in the evil story, she shot Chip, so maybe she wrestled with him beforehand. And that's how she got sore all over. But if that was the case, would she admit it? She'd be like, nope, never wrestled with Chip. Not sore all over. Nothing like that happened. All I did was sit in the car. Chip got out, got shot. That's all you're going to get from me. That's all that happened. I'm not sore. So if she's such a good liar to have all these details and have them all work, she would not just throw in that she was sore all over from being grabbed on the arm. So now, having just been raped, Kim's kind of lost her religion. She no longer feels so strong or so principled to stay there with Chip. Like, Chip is just like, go. And she's like, that's exactly what I'm going to fucking do. Plus, there's all these shots going off. But she left Chip at this point because she's just had a traumatic event that has, like, shattered everything. And she's no longer trying to keep up appearances. So, at this point, she's going to be more emotional and just drive away. Do what a girl does. And she would not want to drive to her parents' house because she doesn't want them to know what happened. She would drive to the house of the black sheep, Chip's uncle, Stroop. She'd drive to the house of the dirty guy who lives in a trailer and is not going to judge her. You know, she's going to take a shower and she's going to hold on to her secret of what really happened that night. And that's what this kind of shady guy in the trailer is going to enable her to do, that her brother and her parents and all them, or the gossipers, or her cop uncle, or Chip's cop uncle. You know, she said she didn't want to go to a stranger after what just happened. And what just happened is she was just raped on the ground. And so she's like, oh man, I don't want this gossip to get out. I'm going to Michael Stroop's house to fucking cry on his shoulder and like take a fucking shower and not let anybody ever know what happened. Remember, one of the first two details in Kim's whole story in this whole 140 pages was Chip comes over every week, but doesn't mention the sex. I got in a truck in bare feet just to go on a ride, but she doesn't mention the sex. So the very first thing at the beginning of 140 pages fits together with something at the very end. The last detail, she doesn't want to mention getting raped. So she goes to this dirty guy's trailer instead of going home, and believe me, instead of just going to a stranger, because she's shy to tell her brothers and her parents and her cop family that she was hanging out in a park doing bad things with black people, buying weed, and got raped. You know, maybe Kim even knows the guy who raped her from school. And she doesn't need her reputation destroyed or her virtue tainted by the world knowing she had sex with that ugly, disgusting guy that everybody knows. And Chip also wants to keep quiet that his girlfriend had sex with a black guy and that he himself, Chip, will let it happen. You know, dude, you had a gun. Why didn't you shoot the guy? Dude, you let a black guy rape your girlfriend when you're just sitting there with a revolver? You let your girlfriend tie your fucking wrists? Are you a fucking doormat? So, you know, Chip could have shot the guy and he didn't. His own girlfriend tied his wrists. Both Kim and Chip are ashamed to admit what happened, and that they let it happen and that they were so compliant. So when the first responders come and Chip's delirious, he keeps this kind of shameful secret to himself. He says he just wants to go home. And I'm kind of reminded of that movie Deliverance, where remember the victim in that movie Deliverance, he did not want to tell anybody what happened. He didn't run out and say, hey, guy raped me in the woods, you know, made me squeal like a pig, go arrest him. People are not automatically as open and aggressive as some imagine to shout, a black guy did this, go get him. You know, Kim's not, I don't know, maybe she's not a cheerleader. You know, she sounded a little geeky taking these classes. If Chip were like that, if he was that If Chip were like that, if he were that aggressive guy, probably things, would have gone down sooner at the baseball field. It wouldn't even have got that far. So if Chip's like this gung-ho shouting guy, go get him, he probably would have forced the situation like in the first 3 minutes, not let it all happen. So the shyness to talk about sex at the very beginning of the deposition, the unlikelihood that Chip actually took a shot when Kim says he shot, I don't think he would have taken the shot at that exact moment. And the first place she drives is the trailer of the dirty guy who smokes weed himself and who would understand. Rather than Kim going straight to the cop uncle, Dan Wilmer, all these things fit together. She's shy to talk about sex. Chip really probably wouldn't have shot this guy or shot at him and missed until it got really bad. Like, if he's gone all this way, at that moment, the geometry had not become perfect to shoot. Like, that wasn't his best chance to shoot. That was his worst chance to shoot. And I believe he didn't shoot. And then she doesn't want to tell anybody. She drives right past strangers. She drives right past payphones. She goes to the private shady guy at his trailer. Instead of going to, Chip's uncle, the cop, Dan Wilmer. All these things fit together. They tell a story of a girl who's very private and who was raped that night. Now, remember, all Kim really has to say from the very beginning is, we drove out to the orange grove, Chip got out, and some black guy walked up and shot him. If she's a devious criminal, she could have untied Chip's hands after she shot him to hide what she did. If you tied up a guy and shot him, then you want to say, no, a black guy ran up and shot him, you'd go, oh, I better untie his wrists, so nobody knows that happened. She's not going to think, well, there might be marks from tying, watch. There was no CSI show back in 1989. So she's going to go, fuck, I tied him up and shot him, and now I want to hide what I did. First thing I do is I untie him. So all the story that she has to tell is we drove out to the orange grove, Chip got out, and a black guy shot him. But she adds all these extra elaborate puzzle pieces. And miraculously, they all fit together. They even fit together with the puzzle pieces she doesn't want you to know, but you can guess probably happened. Kim didn't say in her deposition, but you can guess they were having sex. That's why she went into the gas station and did something in the bathroom. That may be why Chip got out to pee. That is why Chip's shoes were off, for her to hear him complain his feet were getting stepped on. That is why she was snuggled up to where Chip was sitting and was able to get the gun and put it in the middle of the seat while blocking the black guy's view of what she was doing. That is why Chip's shoe was sitting on the driver's side floor up near eye level in a high truck where the black guy could see the shoe and say, take out the shoelace. That is why Chip was focused on stopping the door closing with his foot, because he already had the gun, all because of something that she leaves out, that they were having sex. Kim didn't say in her deposition, but you can guess, maybe the reason for the extra trip to the baseball field was to buy weed. That's why she would even make a trip to a park near a black neighborhood where weed dealers like Crosley Green live, where there are strange people walking around who can see you smoking weed and having sex. And that's why she left out the paranoid black guy, and what he said about watching out for the sheriff out of the 911 call. That's how someone would have a chance to see or to suspect that Chip had enough money in his wallet to count if he's buying weed or if they see him using drugs over there in that field by the black neighborhood. That's why Kim might be afraid to tell her courthouse family, where she got a job in the courthouse, to admit that Kim was out doing something she shouldn't have been doing. Something that every one of these people warned her against over and over and over. And because she went out there and did bad things that they told her to stay away, either the weed dealer or one of his friends raped her. And it was kind of her fault for disappointing all of them by smoking weed and hanging out in the baseball park, and all that crap. For contrast, If Kim told the simplest story with one puzzle piece, just drive out and get shot, there wouldn't be enough shapes and sides on it to fit into the world around her. If you drive straight out to the orange grove, what's a black guy with a gun doing in an empty field in the middle of the night? Where did the missing time go? What's a black guy with a gun doing in an empty field in the middle of the night? Where did the missing time go? If you just drove out there and got shot, where did all that time go? Why did Chip have to go to the bathroom so quickly that you drove out to this empty field and he got right out and he got shot? How would a stranger in a dark field know Chip has money in his wallet? Why would you be so submissive to tie Chip's hands? Why wouldn't the black guy tell Chip to take out his own shoelace from a shoe he's wearing? A simple story. Chip's wearing his own shoe. Why have Chip take his shoe off and have you take the shoelace out? Why have you come out of the car? In the simplest story a person would make up in a hurry, Kim and Chip are sitting in the driver and passenger seats like crash test dummies, and Chip has his shoes on, and that story doesn't work. It has holes. It's too simple, doesn't have all these interlocking puzzle pieces. It doesn't connect to anything, in fact. It's just a made-up story that didn't happen. And that is not the story she told. Now, I would expect a girl who made up a story to include mechanical details that weren't possible. Inventing such a long story, I'm going to find the holes in a girl's story. Like, I'm going to tell that girl, like other people are trying to, you can't shift that car or whatever. Girls get shit wrong. But on the flip side, I would expect a girl to get the mental parts better. The decisions, the motivations, the emotions. A story that Kim invented would be cuter and tidier and less hokey. She would have the black guy stick the gun through the window right when he walked up. She would hear the guy say, this is a stick-up. Give me your money or I'm going to blow your brains out. First thing he said. That's the first thing that would happen in her cute little girl story. Then she would say, the black guy carjacked us because he was afraid the sheriff would come back to investigate the gunshot. If Kim's inventing a story, she's inventing details to satisfy questions. She doesn't need to introduce details that make no sense and then not try to explain what that person was thinking or why she introduced that detail. When you make up a story, the elements you add all have a reason. So Kim would say, though, the black guy was really scary and, he called us crackers. But instead she said, the black guy called us crackheads and he accidentally stood on Chip's feet. It's like just rambling nonsense. Not a cute little story where everything is like designed to answer some question. Like, I'm going to invent a story and this guy was standing on Chip's feet. Black guy tells Kim to reach in and start the truck before they get in. He's from the hood. He knows that these old trucks are real easy to steal. So a lot of times a guy like Chip with a custom truck is going to hide a cutoff switch up under the dash somewhere. Black guy wants to make sure that he's going to be able to start that truck before he gets in. Now, Kim doesn't provide any of this explanation. If you're going to make stuff up, why invent details without explaining the details that you just invented? She wouldn't do it. If she doesn't know why she's making up this part of the story, she's just going to leave it out. And she didn't know why that part of the story was there, but she put it in because it actually happened. What if Kim didn't get the gun out of the glove box, but she said she got the gun out of the glove box to hide that time when she was on the ground with the black guy? What were you doing all that time while Chip squirmed around to get the gun out of the glove box? Well, she would probably just say, well, I guess he was able to get it out quick because I really wasn't out there with the black guy for very long. Or she would lie and she'd say, well, I got the gun out and I put it on the passenger side and I guess Chip was able to find it there. Those are simple stories. She wouldn't elaborate such a long story about putting the gun in the middle of the seat, Chip finding it on his way into the car as he's sliding past, and then trying to get her to scoot forward while they're driving and all that other stuff. If the gun were really still in the glove box, Chip would not stop the driver door closing with his foot. Chip stopped the driver door closing because he was ready to shoot. So, an alternate ending where the gun is in the glove box and the guy rapes her while Chip's trying to get it out doesn't work. You need all these extra details for it to all fit together. Now, let's assume the black guy did close the passenger door after she ran around the car, like I suspect he did. Wouldn't it make more sense for Chip to go out the driver door, since both doors are closed? Wouldn't it make more sense for Chip to go out the driver door since both doors are closed? That might give Chip a chance to land on his feet, and then he can spin around and shoot the black guy, whichever way the black guy comes around the car. Probably Chip just didn't think of that. He was in a hurry. Chip was in a hurry. What if Chip was getting raped and Kim shot Chip by mistake? What if Chip was the one getting raped and then Kim shot Chip by mistake, aiming for the black guy? Well, that doesn't work because Kim's hands weren't tied, so she wouldn't miss. Not that bad. What if Chip shot himself? Is that a possibility? The only way I can make that work is if Chip were lying on his side, shot upwards, and the bullet ricocheted off the bottom of the door and hit him in the side of the chest. I don't think a single shot from a .22 pistol off a ricochet to the side of your chest will kill you. But I guess it could if you had enough time to bleed. So I have little doubt that the rambling story Kim Hallock told is true. I would normally be able to find many physical and mechanical flaws in such an elaborate story involving 3 people in 2 places, in and out of a car and around it. If it never actually happened, I would find those holes. If it were a computer program that she wrote with all those lines of code, it would have a lot of bugs in it the first time she ran it. Kim's not so gifted to get all these mechanical and physical details right the first time. It's the opposite. The few parts Kim does make up or leave out or change, you can instantly see it. It's instantly easy to see, well, she changed this, she left that out. She's a bad liar. She's someone who says, I tied the string. No, I didn't. If Kim said, I got the gun out of the glove box, no, I didn't, it would not be there for Chip to already have the gun in the car when he shot. So that he wants to stop. If Kim said, I got the gun out, no, I didn't, then the gun wouldn't be there for Chip to already have, so that he wants to stop the door closing at the orange grove. So, do I think Crosley Green is guilty? That's for a jury to decide, not for me. And the jury should have the full facts of how Kim was changing her story and hiding things, and what she changed and hid. It's not for the appeals court or people on the internet like me or police to determine guilt. The only thing I would say is if Kim did want to hide that she was raped, she might want to protect that secret by also hiding the identity of the person who actually did it. The fact that Chip is dating Patty and Kim is still having sex with him every week shows she's not a vengeful person. Kim is not an aggressive person saying, go get some black guy and punish him. She's a timid person. Kim is a submissive person, a private person. If police said, this is the black guy who did it, she might just say, okay. She's not going to fight with him. She's just quiet and let shit go on around her. She's not a conniving person who takes control of a situation by saying, I'm going to tell all these lies to get people to go do all these things. She's not running the world around her. She's used to having older brothers who do shit all around her, and she just sits there and watches it. Generally, a girl with an older brother is not going to learn a habit of being manipulative of guys because she's been getting her ass kicked her whole life, so she just sits there and lets her older brothers kick her ass. Kim also might want to pick the wrong person out of the lineup to hide that she was buying weed. You would think she would just say, I don't recognize any of them. But she might just pick a random guy to save them showing her pictures all day. And to save them from finding the actual guy. Like, just point to a random guy, not the guy who did it, and then you can go home. Just like this guy who I can't really see what he looks like. Yeah, he did it. And then the police leave you alone. You can go home and be like, oh man, I'm glad nobody ever found out. Now, you would think that getting revenge for the guy who manhandled her and killed her boyfriend would be more important than hiding that she bought weed or knew a weed dealer or whatever. You know, sometimes when people are pressed, like to stand and, tell us what happened, they choke and they don't spit it out. It may be that given several days to weigh it, Kim would have decided to tell the whole story. But just bringing her in and saying, look at these photographs, early in the morning, telling her, come right over. Maybe it was too quick. And she hesitated to tell the truth, and she wasn't ready at that moment, and she just wanted to go back home and be left alone. And maybe the right time to spit it out and tell it never came, because it would have always raised hell if she suddenly busted out the truth, even today. I've done it myself. This thing of thinking the little girl's evil little liar, hiding something. I've projected a sinister motive onto girls who kept some secret from me that they were just embarrassed about. They were obviously hiding something from me, and I was determined to find out what evil thing it was. What was their motive? What are they putting over on me? What trick are they playing that they're hiding something from me? And so, I kind of tricked them, or I bullied them, or I stalked them, and I finally exposed their sinister secret, and found out it wasn't really that sinister. And I felt bad that I'd been so aggressive, and I'd kind of taken that privacy from them and taken that secret from them that they just wanted to keep. And I found out that the girls who lied were just shy, and they felt vulnerable in a world of aggressive people. The thing that girls hide is a lot of times not sinister at all. It's just very private, because they live in a world of angry, volatile guys like Kim's older brothers or dad, who knows, lives in a world of all these angry, volatile guys, and sometimes they lie to protect themselves from the guy's reactions. I mean, being a little sister of two brothers and a daughter of a dad, she's probably not saying, yeah, I had sex today. And she sure as hell like, oh my God, if I tell my dad I was raped by a black guy because I was hanging out in the park with weed dealers, it will just, it's like dropping a fucking bomb in our house. She's just not going to do it. Well, anyway, so now you know how I figured out that what Kim was hiding was a number of things, including that something very private and secret happened. She got raped. If you want to see Kim Hallock's deposition yourself and go over it yourself and do what I did, and you can also read some of my quick takes on my website. You can go to seminolescam.com/Crosley, as in Crosley Green. That's seminolescam.com/Crosley. Or if you have a general interest in police hiding things and, running a scam and how crooked the justice system is, or how crooked it's allowed to be, how police are allowed to let a girl get away with saying whatever she wants, maybe even help her cover up what really happened, you can go to my other site, cops2prison.org. That's COPS 2 PRISON.org.